the Fade 5 podcast with Brad Evans and Nate Lundy.
Place your bets at Jack Wagons by the big noise 7-2, joined by the good soul, Nathaniel Lundy for the rousing edition of the Fade 5 podcast. Let's not waste a moment of time. We already got tickets in hand because we are hopping aboard the Hog Plus Bus, as we always do at the top of every Fade 5 episode. Plus money is a requirement. Lundy, what ticket are we cashing?
Let's go to the ice for this evening. Only 4 games on the schedule. It's always light on a Friday, folks, but you can still find some value here. I've got a couple of different ways I want you to think about playing this one. We are going to go to Chicago and Winnipeg. I'm going to take Tampa. They are on the road in Chi-Town to take on the Blackhawks, and then give me Winnipeg at home. Nice, simple two-legger. All I need them to do is win. Doesn't matter if it's in regulation or in overtime. Plus 105 are the numbers you're going to get at DraftKings. Two of the best netminders in the business are expected to be between the pipes. You'll see Vasilevsky there for the Lightning. You will see Hellebuck for Winnipeg going up against the Utah Hockey Club. This is a nice, simple money line at plus 105, but I will tell you that I really like, and this is me, just getting greedy again, as Brad knows I'm really, really, really good at doing. But nonetheless, if you want to step this one up, because I did in my bet, take both of these teams in regulation, and it will go from plus 105 to plus 189. So even if what you want to do is scatter a bet a little bit, you want to go a full unit on just the straight money line just in case. But I don't think you're going to need it. You could jump this up to both of these teams to win in regulation. You'll be sitting at a plus 189. This should be pretty easy. Winnipeg's numbers at home are insane in terms of their scoring that they do, but most importantly, what they allow to their opponents. I think they are going to stymie Utah like crazy. And by the way, story came out. The U.S. Trademark and Patent Office, Brad, has denied. We're talking Dikembe Mutombo, that thing right back into Utah's face. They had applied for the Utah Yetis, and the trademark office has said, no, there's too many other businesses and other things utilizing the term Yeti, not the least of which is the cooler company that we're all very familiar with. So the trademark office said, no Yeti for you to the Utah Hockey Club. So it looks like they may be looking for a new name as they continue to move into next season, which is when they're expected to have a full-blown, like, this is who we are type of name and get away from the hockey club. But I thought that was pretty interesting. I don't know. Maybe they'll be a little pissed off. Problem is they got to play Winnipeg, and Winnipeg is going to do that exact same move right on the bare bottom. So give me these two on the money line at a plus 105. But if you want to jack it up, take them in regulation plus 189. Both of those at DraftKings.
Hey, here's a recommendation, Utah. Instead of Yetis, go with Bubbles because they bounce. We learned it from the old school Rudolph the Red Zone. Red Zone? You know
Zone?
What I'm at.
Rudolph the Red Zone. He'd be a good host over there on NFL.
He would. He would kill it. Absolutely kill it. Let me go to the college basketball late night tip on a Friday. Let's go to Starbucks City and a team I think is going to bring a caffeine jolt, and that being the visitors in UCLA. So I'm going to play this on a simple same game parlay with the Bruins at a minus 2.5 on that alt line. And I'm going to take the game under against the Huskies at 145.5, and you achieve plus money, plus 103 if you build that baby at Caesar Sports. Like, I UCLA has kind of turned a corner. I got that marquee quadrant 1 victory against the Wisconsin Badgers recently. Had to fend them off late in that game, but that game coming at Parlay Pavilion, obviously, but it may springboard them into a nice stretch of wins. Washington is woeful. They're in the running alongside Minnesota, a couple of worst teams in the Big Ten Conference. One, I am going to make an appearance in the Big Ten tournament because 4 teams are ineligible. Those 4 at the rock bottom of that league come tournament time, and I think UW is going to be there. You look at UCLA, sure, they're only number 42 in Bart Torvik here in the month of January, but where are the Huskies? Number 96 in that category. On top of that, Washington 268 EFG offense and 292 in EFG defense over that span. I do worry about UCLA's suspect defense. which is supposed to be a calling card under Mick Cronin, but it's been rather absent here the last couple of weeks. But again, I think they have righted the ship, so to speak. I think they're going to march into Seattle against a familiar foe, old Pac-12 representative, now members of the Big Ten, and absolutely crush them in the end, or at least cover the 3 that I need. So UCLA minus 2.5, and the under should be a fairly low possession game, 145.5 in Seattle, plus 103 at Caesars Sportsbook. With those bets on the board, let's get after it with another Friday edition of the Fade 5.
Number 5.
Numero 5 on the countdown, and the entire countdown, NFL Championship Sunday, one of the most glorious Sundays on the calendar every single year. So all the action I am counting down pertains to those pair of matchups. Let's go with the one between the Buffalo Bills and Cowtown taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. And give me Josh Allen, anytime touchdown. This has come down, by the way, folks. And still BetMGM, the only book in the business that I've seen that still has this prop at plus money. It's even Steven plus 100 juice. I grabbed it over the week at plus 115. Everywhere else is like at a minimum minus 115 that I've seen in the marketplace. So if you want to, pinch your pennies and count maybe ramped up winnings, you got to go to the Lions Roar to secure this bad boy. And I think he's going to find the end zone with his legs, because Josh Allen has scored 3 times in 7 postseason games. And you look at Kansas City, a team that was extremely vulnerable on the ground, pass running, or rushing, I should say, pass and rushing quarterbacks in the regular season. Remember Josh Allen, this first matchup, in which the Bills won. He had 12 carries for 55 yards and a touchdown back in week 11. Remember, he had 2 rushing touchdowns last week against the Baltimore Ravens, and a guy, too, in the NFL postseason and 7 games in his career, 5.3 a rush attempts per game, 52.3 rush yards per game as well. Kansas City, number 21 rush EPA over the last 5. Again, in the regular season, they allowed 4 rushing touchdowns to quarterbacks, so they gave up the 7th most rushing yards to UBs. Why? Because they cranked the pressure. They're aggressive. They're assertive on the front line. Number 5 in the regular season and pocket pressure rate among all NFL teams, down up to 26.4% of the time. So whether on design runs, opportunistic scrambles, I think Josh Allen is going to take off near the goal line. Maybe it's a tush push of his own and find the end zone. I think he crossed the chalk, plus 100 there at BetMGM. Numero 5 on the Fave 5 countdown. Lundy, fade or follow?
I'll take it only because you can still get it with the plus odds over there at BetMGM. So I think that's worth jumping on. In terms of the anytime touchdowns, not my favorite anytime touchdown, by the way, of the weekend. I will give that to you in bonus time. But I do like the idea of Josh Allen getting it done, and I don't think it's going to take a tush push, Brad. I could see him sitting back there. They're on about the 12, 15-yard line. He's looking around. He's looking around. He's looking around. He's like, oh, I'm just going to go that way. And he crosses the chalk. So I could totally see that happening. But I like the idea of him for an anytime touchdown. I have been on Buffalo this entire time. It has not changed. I'll go ahead and give you the early bonus time. I am still on them on the money line. I took them at plus 110.
Yep, me too.
I did the exact same thing last week against Baltimore. And by the way, another little quick early bonus time. I had Buffalo at plus 110 going into the game last weekend at home against Baltimore. As soon as Baltimore scored, Buffalo jumped to plus 150, and I bet it again. Keep an eye on it if the Chiefs were to score early. I really do believe this is Josh Allen's year. I think they can beat the Chiefs, and I'm going to stand by that. And if I see something like that happen early on, I may double down.
See hole, smash hole, find it, Josh Allen, that damn end zone.
Number 4.
Numero 4 here at the Fave 5 countdown. Let's go with a guy in the Washington and Philadelphia game that's been flying under the radar, but really rising to the occasion here down the home stretch and in the postseason. Dyami Brown. I'm going to go with the alt market, 50 or more receiving yards, more plus money, plus 115. The little baby seduced by the juice there at BetMGM. Brown is been down, to say the least, with his Commanders team here last handful of weeks. Remember last time he faced Philadelphia in week 16, he had 6 targets, 4 receptions for 56 yards. So he hit the threshold needed in that one. The other game, rather much on the side of a milk carton. Only 2 targets, 1 catch for 4 yards. But again, that was a long time ago. Completely different player. His confidence is skyrocketing. He's cashing over on 50 or more yards in 3 of his last 4 games. And in this postseason, 13 targets the last couple of games, 11 receptions, $187 in total with a touchdown. Yeah, Philadelphia number 5 in pass EPAD over the last 5 games. Yeah, in the regular season, they allowed the 3rd fewest wide receiver yards, but 19 wide receivers reached the big 5-0 against them. And sure, he's going to get a lot of big play Darius Slay in coverage, who only gave up the 41st most yards of any defensive back in the regular season, and 2, just a 50.6% catch rate and 77.2 passer rating. But again, with the confidence soaring, not only in Brown himself, but the confidence with Jaden Daniels twirling him the pill, I think they're going to connect on an explosive pass play or 2. I think he's going to sail passes. I also like him on the standard line, obviously. And that line's come up. It opened at 41.5. That's what it grabbed it at. It's up to 44.5. So if you want to ladder this, maybe a little step ladder action, I would highly encourage and recommend it. Again, fade or fall, that's entirely up to you. But I am getting down, baby, with Dyami Brown. 50 or more receiving yards, plus money, plus 115 there at BetMGM. And Lundy, fade or follow.
Well, this is one of those you just keep going until there's a reason not to, right? I mean, he's all of a sudden come on the scene. Like you said, he was under the radar. He's not anymore after the start that he's had here to the postseason and even kind of how things were wrapping up at the end of the regular season. So he's there, plus odds, 50 or more. I could definitely see him doing this. He might get 25, 26 of it on one catch.
Dollar bills, y'all, with Dyami.
Number 3.
Numero Trace here on the Fade 5 Countdown. Let's get a minus wager on the board. And this one has been all over the map at the various sports books. It usually is, with rush yards props tied to wide receivers. But I am certainly not afraid of this number in any way, shape, or form. X gonna give it to you. Yeah, Xavier Worthy, give me the over on 3.5 rush yards. It's not even available anymore at BetMGM. I grabbed it earlier the week when I opened at BetMGM at 2.5. Automatically slam dunk the over on it. And then like about 24 hours later, poof, it disappeared and hasn't resurfaced on that platform, but it's still available at DraftKings at the 3.5 number. I even play this at 4.5, to be honest with you. All we need is 1 carry. Now, I said that last week on the same prop with Xavier Worthy. All I need is 1 carry. Well, he got that 1 carry. Unfortunately, he got a whole bunch of Will Anderson for minus 8 yards. So I don't expect a negative ending to this proposition. I think he's going to fall forward and get at least 4 yards. Why? Well, Xavier Worthy has done this in 6 of his last 9 games on the ground. And a guy, too, in the NFL regular season, averaged 5.2 yards per carry. He's got 13 rush attempts in his last 11 games. So, he's getting better in a rush attempt per game. And 2, remember that first match against Buffalo back in week 11, 1 carry, 7 yards. So there's always little trickery involved with Xavier Worthy that Andy Reid loves to deploy. Usually happens in the red zone, quite honestly. I've seen a lot of those handoffs there. Could be a backwards pass, could be an in-motion sweep type of play with Worthy, but he's got the 4.2 40-yard speed. So usually if it's well blocked on the edge, he'll round that corner and burst up the line, and usually for at least 5 yards, maybe 5 to 10. And hell, maybe we get more than 1 rush opportunity. If we get that, cha-ching, even more money in the bank. Last point I'll make, 8 wide receivers in the NFL regular season accomplished the over against the Buffalo Bills this year, again, including the X-Man himself. So put all together, Xavier Worthy, over 3.5 rush yards, minus 115 there at DraftKings. Lundy, numero trace of the countdown. Fade or follow.
So I have to fade you just because every single time I have bet this on him has been a game where he gets tackled in the backfield. I did it last week.
The 3 games that he didn't hit in the last 9.
Yes, Exactly, including last week. Every time I do this, every time I think that I've got him and that he's going to give me the yards, he's going to give me the payday. I'm going to be like, woohoo, all right, Andy Reid, thank you. Now I get screwed. Happens every time. So I got to fade you just because I'm tired of getting screwed over by this guy. So X might give it to you, but X is me on this one. No, sir.
Well, I'm a masochist, so I will endure the pain for both of us in the event it does not cash. And hey, you want more pain? We're always bringing it, baby, at thegamingjuice.com. It's 100% free, you jackals. Go there, sign up. You can ask me a question. Just click Ask Brad, fire off whatever's on your mind. And when I get time, I will get to it and easily answer it for you. And again, I do it free of charge. Lundy's always free, always transparent spreadsheet lives there. If you like dropping the puck and making some bucks, check that out. My always free, always transparent spreadsheet. Also on the site, I've got a ton of college basketball, not only on Friday night, but I will lock and load oodles of bets, maybe later in the day, if not early on Saturday morning for a monster as normal Saturday slate here during the conference season. I got all of my NFL picks there as well. Cranking out some fresh pieces. Already got a full props breakdown, including an SGP at Stanley Plus money on the Chiefs and Bills. Just polished off the one on Commanders and Eagles. Got to send it to our EIC extraordinaire one. Joe Lago's got to post that later tonight. So you get it all, you jackwagons. Go to thegamingjuice.com. Sign up, click, converse, and cash. ... Maybe.
Number 2.
All right, numero dos here on the Fade 5 countdown. Let's get down with some more Brown and go with the other guy that most people know, and that being A.J. Brown on his inner excellence. Hopefully it's going to be unleashed in this game. He's been reading up on that, and hopefully he's going to tap into it. Give me the over. 61.5 receiving yards at a -110 juice there at DraftKings. Truth be told, I grabbed this one and opened at 55.5 earlier this week at BetMGM, and I would still play this up. Hell, if you want to ladder this one, take it at 61.5, maybe take it at 70, take it at 75. I play this up to like maybe 80, possibly 90, depending how significant the plus money juice is. But I think A.J. Brown's going to get there. He did this in both regular season games against the Commanders. And, you know, I know the Commanders were in the bottom 10 in most wide receiver yards allowed in the regular season. And you might say, well, Evans, he's got a ton of Marshawn Lattimore in coverage. I know that guy. He is like white on rice. Well, he used to be. He's given up a 103.0 passer rating to his assignments this season. And I know A.J. Brown has been exiled on Elba here in this NFL postseason. He hasn't even cracked 20 yards in a singular game, but this is the week he stiff arms the Schneid, and I think he really posts some crooked numbers there on the board. And don't worry about Jalen Hurts. That guy's a gamer. Tough as they come. He'll be able to, really ratchet up the arm, unleash down the field, and deliver some of those crisp passes, probably for some explosive pass games there to A.J. Brown. So numero dos on the countdown, Brown over 61.5 receiving yards, -110 at DraftKings. Lundy, fair to follow.
Man, you better hope that he gets off of that damn island.
I'm telling you, man. He's going to regain power. It's going to happen. Napoleon did it. Hell, he's going to do it himself. Let's go.
He should be able to do it. I mean, look, not only is this a conference championship, but obviously we're also talking about two teams in the same division. So I think all of that put together, this is going to be a great game. I'm really looking forward to this on Sunday afternoon. I'll play the over with you on this one, but Brad, I think he's just going to squeak by.
What can Brown do for you? Hopefully he can boost my damn bank account.
Number 1.
All right, numero uno here on the Feed 5 countdown. Of course, I got to get some Mr. Taylor Swift props in there. And this one just popped up this morning at BetMGM, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I rubbed them. I looked at the screen. I was like, what? I rubbed them again. I looked at the screen, took a little sip of coffee. The caffeine took hold, and I'm like, this is real. And oh my goodness, it is quite spectacular. Travis Kelce to lead the ball game in receiving yards. A cool +150. Take my money, BetMGM. Take it. That's why I'm wearing the hat, because they're all so generous And if you shop around, this is significant value compared to some of the other books. Just by comparison, DraftKings, 40 cents lower. It's plus 110 on that side. So plus 150 is dynamite value in my mind and entirely doable. Why? It's the postseason. It's Travis stinking Kelce. He's averaging over 80 yards in 23 postseason games in his career. Hell, he scored 20 touchdowns in 23 playoff games in his career as well. And yeah, I didn't do jack or squat. I only had 8 receiving yards against the Buffalo Bills in that Week 11 matchup. But playoff Travis Kelce is like a Thanos with all the Infinity Stones. Like, he's got supreme power. It doesn't matter if they're playing zone. It doesn't matter if they're playing man. Money Mahomes is going to find him across the middle multitude of times. I say at a minimum, it's going to be 75 yards. I would take the over on his standard receiving yards prop as well. 68.5. You want to ladder that sucker. I would back it and support that maneuver to boot. So put all together, man. Travis Kelce killing it. He had 117 last week, 80 plus the week before. The Superman has come out, and there is no kryptonite defensively for the Buffalo Bills, who are really hurting on the back end. So Travis Kelce to lead the game in receiving yards, my number one play of Championship Sunday, plus 150 at BetMGM. Good, sir. Better follow.
So I get your logic here. I understand it. Playoff Travis Kelce, real thing. It happens.
It is.
By the way, plus 120 for a touchdown. Remember, we took him last week at plus 150, y'all. I told you that was my favorite one last week, and it wound up happening. All right, Brad, I don't hate it. All right. But
so who actually leads the game in yards then?
Plus 265, I will take Khalil Shakir.
Oh, no.
Yes. Yes. Well, suck it, Brad. I'm doing it anyway. All right. I don't care what the hell you think. I'm doing it. I'll take plus 265 odds. Let's get seduced, y'all. Come on. Have some fun with me.
Yeah, roll the shoulders, get seduced by Lundy's stupid juice. And guess what? He's going to have more stupid juice for you.
You think Caitlin Clark will be there again?
Oh, that would be awesome if she was. I mean, she's a diehard Kansas City Chiefs fan. It makes all the sense in the world. And she's hanging out with T Swift. I mean, make that magic happen. Don't break up that dynamic duo right now.
Did you see the stat from earlier this week that she went like 50 of 54 from outside the arc in practice?
Well, Taylor Swift, she's got that kind of magic.
Well, no, yeah, but it's just like maybe Taylor's trying to get a little of that Caitlin Clark magic.
That could be, man. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of it.
We're getting a crossover. All right, you want your bonus time?
Bonus time! Give it to me, Lundy.
I like Shakir. By the way, in the early contest, I will take Terry McLaurin at plus 210 to lead the game in receiving yards. I like that number. I like the idea of getting plus 210. Part of the reason why I think Philly's going to do a shitload of Saquon Barkley on Sunday. And so I think because of that, I know you've got your A.J. Brown number, but I think Washington is going to be trying to throw the ball. And I think that's going to benefit Terry McLaurin. So I'll take him at plus 210 to lead the early contest, the NFC Conference Championship game in receiving. Again, grabbed that one. That's over at DK, by the way, at a plus 210. Brad, hands down, my favorite anytime touchdown bet because I love the payday. You ready?
Yeah.
Dallas Goedert plus 310.
Wow. Is that high?
Yes. At FanDuel, it is plus 310 for Dallas Goedert to have a touchdown in this contest. If you go back and look over the course of his career, 12 games he has played against the Washington Redskins / Commanders over the course of his career, and he's only got 3 touchdowns in those 12 games. But if you go back and look at what we have seen from Washington in terms of allowing touchdowns to the tight end position, I think this could be one where all of a sudden we brush the dust off of Dallas Goedert and he finds the end zone. And I cannot resist that at plus 310. It's an extra 10 cents at FanDuel. He's plus 300 right now at DraftKings. So you're getting a 3-to-1 opportunity there for Goedert. I mean, I don't know. Put a bet on him. Put a bet on Kelce to be able to score because we know that's what he does in terms of the postseason. And then I don't know, throw $5 on both of them to score. Make a two-leg parlay out of it if that's what you want to do. But I think this is an opportunity for Goddard to be able to get the touchdown this weekend against the Commanders. Wouldn't surprise me at all if that happens. And again, I can't resist it at plus 310. I told you I think this is going to be a big-time Saquon Barkley game, which is probably why we're seeing Goddard as high as he is. Do you realize how insane it is, Brad, that the over-under on Saquon is 127.5 yards.
And that's come down. It opened at 133.5 on MGM.
Yes, it is coming down right now in terms of what he's playing. Speaking of Dallas Goedert, I will say this. I'll take the over on 40.5 on his receiving yards prop. That one is actually slightly in your favor at DraftKings. It's a minus 108. But I will absolutely play that one. I gave you the numbers in terms of the idea of him being able to score the touchdown. I can also tell you this. In his 12 career games against Washington, he's averaging 48 yards receiving. That's bigger than 40.5. So I'm going to roll with that, especially if the Commanders decide that they want to bring the blitz, which they do, I think, in the top 5 in the NFL. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, at least top 10. They're up there.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're in the top 5 in terms of blitz rate. I think that's going to mean those short opportunities for Jalen Hurts, which means I think he's looking at Dallas Goedert. Also means that I like the over on the prop that people seem to forget about with Saquon Barkley, and that is his receiving prop. Like, I get it. I know that he does all of this crap on the ground, and rightfully so. We pay attention to that. But, folks, his receiving yards prop is 12.5. That's it.
Yeah.
And if Washington blitzes Jalen Hurts, little dump-offs, which I think benefits Dallas Goedert, and I think it benefits Saquon Barkley. So those are 2 receiving props that I like the standard line to play the over. You've always got the opportunity in a same-game parlay, folks, to be able to bring it down, and I wouldn't hate you for that. This is where I think I'm playing with fire, Brad, because I don't know how long this lovely Jaden Daniels run can last. But here's what I will tell you. If you take Buffalo plus 9.5, if you take Washington plus 9.5, in other words, I just need single-digit final scores. That's it. I've already told you I think Buffalo is going to win. But if you do plus 9.5 for each of the road teams just to keep it close, that's a minus 109 at DraftKings. So I know you're paying some juice, but you're also buying yourself a hell of a cushion on games that are sitting at 6.5 for Washington. So I'm taking it up by another field goal, and I think Buffalo's 1.5? 2. There we go. So, like I said, all I need is single-digit games, and I played that one at DraftKings at a minus 109. As always, it's a beautiful Friday. Why? Because it's finally freaking above freezing here in Denver for the first time in I can't even remember how long. I have been so freaking cold. I'm tired of it. I yield the floor to the fine gentleman from Illinois.
Yeah, I am tired of it as well. It's still below freezing here in Central Illinois. That's why I'm going to Mexico next week. A true story to escape the nonsense that is going on here in the northern latitudes. Let's get some Team Huevos parlay play of the day action. Let's put a little 2-legger across the pair of championship Sunday matchups. Leg numero uno, give me the X-Man again. Xavier Worthy of 5 or more receptions. And leg numero dos, give me Austin Eckler 3 or more receptions. I'll tell you the juice after my explanations. Getting back to the X-Man on the over 4.5 catches. He's done this in 6 of his last 7 games. He did fall just shy of this mark against the Bills in the first matchup. Only had 4, but his role is really ramping up. And he's utilized in a multitude of facets, sometimes some explosive opportunities down the field, but a lot of underneath high percentage throws off the hand of Patrick Mahomes. He's number 10 in average yards of separation per target on the season. And you look at the Bills, number 23 in pass EPAD over the last 5. Probably going to see a lot of Taron Johnson out of the slot, who's given up a 73% catch rate, 103.9 passer rating to his assignments at 17 wide receivers, caught at least 5 balls against the Bills in the regular season. I think Xavier Worthy does it on Sunday. And then Austin Eckler, 3 or more receptions. He has done this in back-to-back playoff games. And the last time, and the only time he faced Philadelphia this season, 8 receptions. 8, believe it or not. That was a season high for him. If Washington is playing from behind at all, it's going to be Adios amigo to Brian Robinson. Eckler is going to come on the field. He is going to be the primary check down weapon. You also have an aggressive and assertive defense, and that right, Lundy was mentioning with the Saquon Barkley prop. That really logic applies to Austin Eckler. So Philadelphia is dialing up that heat. You know that Jaden Daniels got to find that underneath weapon, and chances are it's going to be the sure-handed Austin Eckler. All I need is 3 receptions. So to recap, Team Huevos parlay play of NFL Championship Sunday. Xavier Worthy, 5 or more receptions. Austin Eckler, 3 or more receptions, plus 155. Yeah, baby. They're at DraftKings Sportsbook. Additionally, and bonus time. Lundy, Saquon Barkley most rush yards is absurdly priced, as everybody can imagine. So here's what you do if you want to go with that. That is as close.
By the way, real quick, if people don't understand what we're talking about, that number for him to lead the game is minus 575.
Oh, it's even worse than BetMGM. It's minus 1,000. Minus 1,000.
It's so nuts what he's doing. I know he's not going to win the MVP. I think he's going to win Offensive Player of the Year is how it's going to go. But his numbers this season are just magical.
All right, so let's reduce the juice, get seduced by the juice. Okay, go with Saquon. I built this at DraftKings. Most rush yards at that minus 500 plus number. And then who is going to lead the game in rush yards for the Buffalo Bills? I think it's James Cook. And that's actually a plus money at plus 110. So if you want to get an additional 36 cents on that James Cook prop with what I feel is a windmill slam dunk, an alley-oop, if you will, it's with Saquon Barkley most rush yards. So James Cook most rush yards, Saquon most rush yards, it's plus 146 built there at DraftKings. I locked and loaded that sucker this morning. Absolutely love that one. Elsewhere for me, Dawson Knox. Give me the over 1.5 receptions. Minus 108 there at DraftKings. Kansas City struggled defending the tight end all season long. Yeah, I know the number 7 in pass EPA defense in the last 5, but in the regular season, they allowed the 4th most receptions at 6.2 per game to the tight end position. And if you look at Dawson Knox, he's averaging 14.5 routes per game. He's hit the over 1.5 catches, 6 of his last 9. Nice. And in week 11, he was targeted 6 times and had 4 grabs for 40 yards in that one. I think he's got to catch at least a couple of balls. And I also believe that Jamison Crowder is going to catch a couple of passes at plus 115 there at BetMGM. Yeah, he's in a bit of a timeshare with Olamide Zaccheaus out of the slot, but getting a lot of Cooper DeJean on the roughly a dozen routes he's probably going to run in the game on Sunday. DeJean has given up a 71.1% catch rate on the season. Crowder has hit the over 1.5 receptions in 4 of his last 6 games. He had a pair of receptions last time he faced Philadelphia. I think I'll have another pair of receptions in that one as well. BetAnalytics gives this bet, by the way, a plus 4.33 edge, which is quite generous and better than a 50% win probability as well. So like that Crowder over 1.5 receptions at plus 115. And I'm going to throw out one more, actually 2 more quick bets of college basketball on Friday. I'm not going to give you any reasoning whatsoever. I'm just going to give you the wagers. Purdue, money line, and I'm going to parlay that with Michigan at plus 12.5. So all Purdue's got to win by 12 or fewer points. That one inside Mackey Arena, it's plus 120 built there at FanDuel. And I'll just take Villanova, plus 9.5, straight up there against Marquette at a minus 110 juice. The Golden Eagles have been terribly disappointing here last couple of games. So I think the Wildcats of Villanova keep it within striking distance. All right, I'm out of breath, and we are out of time here on the Fade 5 podcast. Do us a favor, drop us a rating and a review at your convenience. Fade or follow us on the X. Lundy, always giving it to you there. At Nate Lundy, I'm doing the same. At Noisy Huevos. Go to thegamingjuice.com. You jackwagons and sign up for a free account. And until next time, as always, feed or follow. That is up to you. X gonna give it to you.